Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Will County Board, May 18th, 2017, recess meeting. We will call this meeting to order. If everyone would please stand. County Board Member Lori Summers will lead us in the pledge this morning and then introduce Pastor Herb Brooks for the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, and thank you, Executive Walsh, and good morning to all my county board members and everyone that is here today in the gallery. It's my privilege to introduce Reverend Herbert Brooks, who is from St. John Missionary Baptist Church in Joliet, Illinois. Reverend Brooks has been pastor of St. John since May 1990. Herb and his wife Gwen have been married since November 1st, 1974. He and Gwen are the parents of 5 children and 9 grandchildren. Reverend Brooks is a graduate of LaSalle University of Chicago with a bachelor's degree in business and John Marshall Law School with a certificate of completion in social law, Chicago. Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Lori. Executive Walsh, one of the things oftentimes shared with people, county board members, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, but when one of us bereaved, we're all one family. And today I ask you to keep in your prayers our county board member, Mike Frizzalone, and the passing of his father-in-law, Robert Preble. Did I say that correctly? Thank you so much. So please, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come once again before this county board of Will County, and we ask your blessing upon this agenda, upon this meeting. Thank you, Lord, for all of our elected officials that are present here, and we pray that you guide us to do the right thing on today. Your word has said in Isaiah 6 and verse number 8, when you were looking for someone to do this work, the Lord, we heard Isaiah said, "Here I am, send me." Thank you, Lord, for each and every one that came forward. Bless this agenda, bless this work, and bless all our elected officials, their families during this time of bereavement for Mike Frizzalone, that we send up prayers for him on today. Now, Lord, we thank you for this day, this place, and for this purpose. In our Lord's name we do pray. Amen. Thank you very much.
I'm ready.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Mayor? Here. Brooks? Here. Ogala? Here. Summers? Here. Singer? Here. Moran? Here. Rice? Here. Harris? Here. Trainier? Here. Benefield? Here. Fritz? Gould? Here. Militello? Here. Balich? Here. Frizzalone? Here. Winfrey? Here. Parker? Here. Staley Ferry? Here. Dollinger? Here. Markham? Here. Hart? Here. Tuminello? Here. Weigel? Here. Ferry? Here. Colitis? Here. Mustis? Here. Thank you.
26 present.
26 present. We do have a quorum. Entertain a motion to place on file the certificate of publication. Moved by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Summers. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Mayor?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Ogala? Yes. Summers? Yes. Singer? Yes. Moran? Yes. Rice? Yes. Harris? Yes. Trainier? Yes. Benefield? Yes. Fritz? Gould? Yes. Militello? Yes. Balich? Yes. Frizzalone? Yes. Winfrey? Yes. Parker? Yes. Staley Ferry? Yes. Dollinger? Yes. Markham? Yes. Hart? Yes. Tuminello? Yes. Weigel? Yes. Ferry? Yes. Colitis? Yes. And Mustis. Yes. Thank
26 you. Affirmative.
26 affirmative. Motion is carried. Entertain a motion to approve the Will County Board recess meeting of April 20th, 2017. Board meeting minutes, moved by Ms. Denise Winfrey, second by Mr. Ferry. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Madam Clerk, would you please acknowledge the elected officials and the media that's present this morning?
Sure. County Clerk Nancy Schultz Foods, County Executive Larry Walsh, State's Attorney James Glasgow, and media we have with Chicago Tribune, Alice Fabry, Farmers Weekly Review, Nick Ryer, Southtown, Susan Lafferty, and the Herald News, Mike Mallory, and with Times Weekly, Brock Stein. Welcome and good morning.
Thank you. Next up is honorary resolution and proclamations. Would board members Judy Ogala and Don Gould please come to the podium to recognize a couple of our longtime employees that are calling it time to retire. So.
Good morning, everybody. We are very pleased this morning to recognize some longtime employees who've done a lot of wonderful things for the community. And at this time, I would like to ask Pamela Boucher to come up. Is she here? She's running late. What shall we do? We'll wait till she gets here. When? Oh, that's perfect. Okay, we're going to go on to Don, and then hopefully she'll be here.
Go ahead.
All right, would Karen Sabero please come forward? Good morning, Karen. You know, Karen, it's not too late to change your mind. Last chance. Okay. No, seriously, I think that for those of us who've been on the committee and have been on the board, we recognize the excellent reputation that Sunny Hill Nursing Home has, and I just want to say that they enjoy that reputation due to the hard work and efforts of Karen. Thank you very much. And so at this time, from the county board, we have a certificate of appreciation. May it be known that this certificate has been presented to Karen Sabero for your 30 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Will County, of which 13 were as administrator of Sunny Hill Nursing Home, signed by Lawrence M. Welsh, Will County Executive, attested by Nancy Schultz Foods, Will County Clerk. And I so move.
Moved and second by Ms. Militello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion has carried.
Thank you very much. Are you so sweet, girl?
Gonna miss you.
Thank you. I'm going to keep this really short. First of all, there's 1,000 people to thank, and a lot of those people are sitting in this room, especially the people that are sitting in the front row of the gallery. Those are the residents of Sunny Hill that were able to come this morning. There's no way to say why we do what we do. All of you have passions, you find your niches in life, and hopefully that's what you do. And if you do that, of course, there's that old quote, you'll never work a day in your life. I don't think I've ever worked a day in my life because I found my passion early on, and that was to work with the elderly. Sunny Hill Nursing Home would not be what it is, and you're going to see it in just a few minutes with the PowerPoint, without the support and the vision and the dedication and the commitment of a tremendous group of people that have come together and worked as a team. And that's what this is all about. So, but we do it because of those residents. We do it because the true sign of a good society is how we treat our children and our elderly. And I have to say, at Sunny Hill Nursing Home, we're proud that we have placed the facility in the residents' hands now. I'm lucky they let me in the door every day. And I am honored to work for them. I am honored to work with them. And I'm not really going anywhere because I'm going to hang out in the hallways once a week. And as I told them, I'll be the one in the jeans. I'm going to save $2 a week, so I don't have to pay the jeans day fee. But once you find where your heart needs to go and be and where you're happy, that's what life's all about. So thank you for the opportunity and the privilege and the honor of letting me do what I was supposed to do. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
You want Jamie to read what she
Yeah.
said? No?
Yeah, we can do that right now. Yeah, whenever Mike is.
We have a special guest in the room with us, and Jamie Wesley. She is the president of the Sunny Hill Resident Council, and she has a little speech she wants to read off from her seat there.
Thank you, sir. I'll see if I can do it. Thank you, sir. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Good morning.
Morning.
Will County Executive Larry Walsh, Will County Speaker James Mudis, Will County Board members and elected officials present, Will County staff, and the citizens of Will County. My name is Jamie Wesley, and I am the president of the Resident Council of Sunny Hill Nursing Home of Will County. Thank you for this opportunity to come before you and say thank you for all of your continued support that you have shared over the past 13 years to make the dreams of myself and my fellow residents come true. Because of your vision and your commitment to the seniors of Will County community, Sunny Hill has been transformed from an aging, dreary institutional facility to a beautiful, warm, and engaging home. No one ever wants to go and live in a nursing home by choice. All of the residents of Sunny Hill are there because we are no longer able to care for ourselves due to age and or illness. It is because of Sunny Hill and your efforts that we have a place where we are able to live with dignity, continue to make choices, and have the chance to control our lives for however long we have on this earth. We are proud to be citizens of the Will County, a county that places the needs of their citizens above all else. It takes vision and leaders to take the risk of making decisions that all people don't alike. Thank you for continuing to hear our voices, ensuring that all Will County residents have the chance to receive the care they need and deserve, no matter what their ability to pay is. That takes caring, compassion, and courage. Thank you, and God bless all of you from the residents of the Sunny Hill Nursing Home of Will County. Thank you.
No. Is Pam? Pam isn't here yet.
We can come back.
Yeah, we can do, yeah. You want to do your, flip the Michael?
All right. Did anybody bring the popcorn? I don't know. We didn't. We should have. I guess we should have. But I'd like to just take you through a real fast 13-year journey, through the renovations of Sunny Hill Nursing Home. Many of you have been out to the facility, and I thank you for that. You've seen it firsthand. A lot of you have been there since the beginning and seen all 13 years of changes. So we want to just give you a real quick overview of what has happened. The renovations have been completed. They were authorized by the Will County Board, implemented by Will County Public Building Commission. Farnsworth Group was the architect, and the general contractor was Poulis Construction. this is probably the lengthiest part of this presentation, and that is I just want to show you the history, because if you don't know your history, you don't know where you're going. And so I want you to know how the facility happened. It was established through a referendum that was voted on November 5th, 1968. The first construction phase was a 3-resident avenue or unit at that time they were called, consisting of 50 beds each. So 24 people, I'm sorry, there was 24 shared rooms, 48 people shared a room on a unit, and there was 2 private rooms which we were basically using for isolation issues. Then of course the dining room and all those different kind of spaces that we needed to support residential life. The second phase of construction happened in 1976. They added 3 more resident units, bringing our license number to 300. And also, thank you, also the sunshine room and common area. Then, of course, the third phase in 1987, it created a separate administrative office suite off the front lobby. They installed central air conditioning, which they had not had, and all new soft goods and furniture was ordered. So it comes 2004, and we needed to make some renovation, and definitely make some renovation changes to the facility because of all the living that had happened in that facility. So we started in 2004. We had to slow down a little bit, though. We didn't realize the scope of what we were walking into in 2004. So we closed the first unit, and we got in there, and we thought, well, we could do this, and we realized we couldn't. So we closed that unit for a year and a half while we were looking for Illinois Department of Public Health approval and an architect and all that process that we had to go through. So now in 2017, we're going to fast forward, and you have 6 resident avenues now consisting not of 50 people a unit, but 26 residents. That gives you 18 private rooms and 4 shared rooms per avenue. The total private rooms now are 108 versus the 12 we previously had. And as you know, I've talked about this in many different committee meetings, that privacy is the #1 wish, beside, outside of respect and dignity, that the seniors want. And so we were very happy to be able to give that to them. That also brought our license number now down to 156 residents from 300. The total renovation, it's the entire facility. We've updated all life safety codes. We have updated all electrical, plumbing, HVAC, lighting, everything with an eye towards energy efficiency. Also windows, floors, everything. I mean, we had a partial roof replacement installed with reflective roof materials. We have the 6 resident avenues with all their supporting rooms that you need on a resident avenue. All of our resident bathrooms are now ADA compliant, which now completes that Department of Justice study that was done, an agreement that was made with the Department of Justice, with the county, creating compliant bathrooms. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. All right. So we also have just jumping a better front lobby, entrance doors, installation of the new high-efficiency chiller and the generator, which also the health department is using to fuel their needs. We took care of the outside facade, all the hallways, kitchen, the buffet, the main dining room, all of those wonderful common areas that the residents, use to enhance their quality of life. And also, all the soft goods, furniture, beds, etc., have been replaced. The total cost of current renovation was $31 million. I just wanted to, I was trying to show you some pictures, and I don't know if you can really see this, but the picture here, the first picture was the old rooms. I mean, all of our closets and dressers were falling apart, and that is a resident shared room. So you can see the space is definitely at a premium. And then, of course, the new rooms. Much lighter. The residents formed committees in the beginning. They picked out the colors. It's their home. Now we have gone to new rooms, but also private suites. As you can see, compared to the last pictures, the space that they have now to entertain their families, to keep keepsakes, and have their own possessions around them. Our resident hallways were always very dark and dreary, as you can see on the first picture, and now, and you really can't see, hallways are very difficult to take pictures of, but you can see there's a little bit more light reflective. We really went for that. We want to bring in light to the facility, and that's what the residents were saying back in 2004. It's so dark in here, and they were right. We needed to upgrade all of the finishes to make sure that light was being brought in at any opportunity. The nursing stations were, I mean, after 40 some years of living, they were pretty dilapidated. Now we have a nurses station that is not quite what you would call a regular nurses station. And that's the nurses station. It's a round table with some chairs around it. The residents roll right up to it. They sit with the nurses while they're charting. No longer does a resident have to try to look over the counter to see if anybody's there. So it's all part of that home-like feel. Our Avenue day rooms were very, very crowded. That was the door to the, on the first picture, to the Avenue day rooms. Many skin tears, people with wheelchairs trying to get through those doorways. Now it's all open. It is absolutely all open. There are no doorways to get through. They eat in those rooms because there's a buffet in each Avenue day room. Also, for those residents that need extra assistance being fed or just some encouragement to eat. And then, of course, activity space. The resident bathrooms. And actually there's only one bathtub per unit, all right? So as you can see, this was the old bathtub. I got to tell you, even when I was a lot younger, I couldn't even get into this bathtub. I mean, you would have to, see how high that thing is? You'd have to lift your leg up and try to get in. I think the only thing that bathtub might be good for is planting flowers or maybe icing down your beverages when you're having an outdoor party. So we have gone to all avenues now have a bariatric bathtub that is in a side entry. It is a fast, quick fill, and it is a spa tub. Yes. So now, and for many, many years, we didn't use the bathtub. So if you came to Sunny Hill Nursing Home and you didn't want to have a shower, you were out of luck. You had to have a shower. Now you have choices. And that's what this is all about, resident-centered care, making choices. Our skilled therapy, the first picture up there, you can see how crowded it was, and the picture below it on that same side is the old therapy department. The new therapy department, as you can see, the colors are much more friendly. We have brand new Nautilus equipment. We have also opened outpatient therapy. We're working very hard to try to get that marketed. We've had not as many as we'd like to go through that outpatient therapy, but anyone can come on through, and if they have Medicare funding. And so we created a separate outside entrance to our therapy department for those folks. Buffet dining. These are all new pictures. All right, so that's a picture of the buffet from behind, and we are moving into the new millennium because we are serving soda. We're excited. We are excited, and the residents are too, But there's the new buffet from the front, and then on the avenues, that's also, as you see the horseshoe type of counter there, that's also on the avenues, and that's where the buffets are placed for 3 meals a day. We had a complete kitchen renovation. A complete kitchen renovation. It had not been renovated since we built and opened the building in 1970. The equipment was still the same. A lot of equipment was taped off, was not being able to be used. And so with a lot of outside commentary by our public building commissioners who said, no, this kitchen isn't going to work, we were able to completely renovate the kitchen. That took an entire year, and we cooked outside in a trailer out in the parking lot. Whatever we needed to do to get this done. The front lobby was very unfriendly, was not at all approachable. We had the old electric doors. Now we have circular doors, and our lobby is much more warmer, and we even have a fireplace. We opened a resident personal laundry. We do have a laundry, and it does most of our resident laundry and the linens, but we decided that most residents maybe want to have control over their own personal laundry. So we opened a small laundry room. It has 2 high-efficiency washers and 2 dryers. We do pay for the detergent. The only thing they have to do is bring their own dryer sheets, which they can buy in the sweet shop for $1. So we have made it as accessible as possible. A lot of our residents go down every Tuesday afternoon or whatever their schedule is, and they do their own laundry. And a lot of them also go down there with their families during their family visits and do the laundry that way. We decided to, since Sunny Hill is more of I like to think of it as a village, as a community, as a town, we created a main street. So it's off the front hallway. If you have not seen it, you have to just come to see that. we used outdoor materials, and we made it so that it would look like when you walked into the front halls of Sunny Hill, you were walking into the town. I mean, that is actual, brick and siding and shutters, and it's a really, really wonderful and warm look. Then, of course, there's gathering places. We had not had a chapel for about 20 years. We had lost it in a flooding situation. So now we have a small chapel, and we've even invited some of our residents to have their memorial services there. A lot of our residents have outlived a lot of their friends. Our average age of Sunny Hill is still 87 years old, so it is truly a geriatric facility with at least 10% of our residents at any given time receiving hospice services at the facility. So there's a lot of living and dying going on at Sunny Hill, and that's all right. It's okay with us. So the chapel is there to be used, but we also use it for Bible studies and meetings and things like that. Our Sunshine Room is the big hub of the entire facility. It houses the sweet shop, the beauty and barber shop, the outside area, door to the patio. So everybody kind of comes together into the Sunshine Room. We do have a new library and computer center. We used to just have a bookcase in the hallway. So now we have a beautiful space. And when we first opened it, we did not have those beautiful panels. I don't know if you can really see them on this PowerPoint, but they're gorgeous. And but we decided we needed to add those because of privacy. We wanted the residents to go in there and read, but we can still see and supervise residents in the library through those. And we've created more activity space. And we've done the outdoor areas. And I want to do a shout out to the Friends of Sunny Hill. You know that I'm going to. The Friends, we are very, very blessed to have an organization. It's a volunteer auxiliary group. All of you should have received your fundraising materials in the mail yesterday. If you haven't opened your mail, open your mail. You all got one. We are going to, their new project, their new campaign is to raise funds to replace our bus. Friends of Sunny Hill, this is their third bus they bought since 1989. They are a very integral part of our facility, and they do it out of the goodness of their heart. So we're very blessed for that. So they, for the last 4 years, their project was to completely renovate 2 outside patios in the courtyard, and they did that at a cost of $750,000. And now we have a safe, accessible, and they're not sitting out in the driveway, kind of area. So we're very happy about that. And there's 2 more pictures, as you can see, and they take care of all the gardening and the hardscapes and things like that. And that is the front of our building. I just want to thank you for this opportunity to show off, and please, even though I may not be there, the new administrator as of June 1st is here today. Becky, would you just stand so they can see who you are? This is Becky Halderson. She's been the assistant administrator at Sunny Hill for the last 12 years. I've been saying 11. She keeps correcting me. It has been 12 years. And trust me, she will keep the place running like a fine-tuned machine. So I thank you again. I can't imagine being able to do anything else, like I said earlier. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. That was a great presentation. And if you haven't been to Sunny Hill Nursing Home, I encourage you to go. Well, we have one more certificate for today. I'd like to ask Pam Voucher to come down. She came. She arrived in time. Thank you. Pam is another wonderful person who we're sad to have leaving, but she's done so many wonderful things. So we are also have a certificate of appreciation for you. May it be known that this certificate has been presented to you, Pamela Voucher, for your 24 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Will County as administrator of Sunny Hill TB Clinic, signed by Lawrence M. Walsh, attested to by Nancy Schultz-Voots, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. O'Gallagher, second by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Congratulations, Pam. Would you like to say something?
Oh, sure, I'll say a few words.
Okay.
Oh, It'll be quick. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the recognition. I would like to thank the board, everybody on the board, and everybody that I've worked with over the past years. You've made the tuberculosis clinic successful, and as well as Mr. Walsh, thank you for all your years as well. And your departments that I've worked with, everyone that I've called, they've worked with us so wonderfully. I really appreciate it. And most of all, I'd like to thank my staff. It truly is a team, and I'm here because of the strong team effort, the dedication, and the expertise. And we really have the expertise here in Will County, and we really do need it in tuberculosis because tuberculosis is not always thought of anymore. And unfortunately, it is still out there. And one of the reasons why I'm late. So I do apologize for my tardiness, but I was still working, and thank you again.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Pam. We're going to miss you. Go Purdue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for everything, Pam. Thanks for coming. You're welcome.
All resolutions approved at the April 20th, 2017 County Board meeting have been signed by the County Executive. Moving on to our first committee, the Land Use and Development Committee, Mr. Weigel, Chairman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Tom.
First item on the agenda is a public hearing for land use cases. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Mayor? Yes. Brooks? Yes. Ogala? Summers? Yes. Singer? Yes. Moran? Yes. Rice? Yes. Harris? Yes. Trenier? Yes. Benefield? Yes. Fritz? Yes. Gould? Yes. Militello? Yes. Balich? Yes. Frizzalone? Yes. Winfrey? Yes. Parker? Yes. Staley Ferry? Dollinger? Yes. Markham? Hart, Tuminello, Weigel,
Yes.
Ferry, Colatis, and Mustis.
Mr. Mustis?
Judy, would you like to be in too?
Yes.
Thank you.
26 affirmative.
26 affirmative. We are in public hearing. Please be advised, absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. We have one case to be heard today, case ZC 16-006. Is there anyone from the public that is interested in commenting on this case? We didn't have any sign up. Anyone from the public wishing to talk on this case? Anyone that was wishing to speak on case ZC 16-006? Mr. Weigel.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Balich. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Mayor? Yes. Brooks? Yes. Ogala? Yes. Summers? Yes. Singer? Yes. Moran? Yes. Rice? Yes. Harris? Yes. Trenier? Yes. Benefield? Yes. Fritz? Yes. Gould? Yes. Militello? Yes. Balich? Yes. Frizzalone? Yes. Winfrey? Yes. Parker? Yes. Staley Ferry? Yes. Dollinger? Yes. Markham? Yes. Hart? Tuminello, Weigel,
Yes.
Ferry, yes. Colatis, yes. And Mustis. Yes. Thank you.
26 affirmative.
26 affirmative. Public hearing has been closed. Mr. Weigel, please continue.
Okay, our case today concerns a special use permit for exotic animals with 4 conditions in Washington Township. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Balich. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Mayor, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
For this same case, we have a special use permit for animal care and boarding with 4 conditions. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Ballage. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Mr. Moran. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
That concludes the zoning cases. We have one resolution, 17114, authorizing the county executive to enter into the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency fiscal year 2017 certified local government grant program to continue the Will County Rural Historic Structural Survey in Washington Township. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Summers. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Gala, second by Ms. Melatello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Our next land use meeting will be June 13th at 10:30 a.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Weigel. Next up, it's Finance Committee, Mr. Frizzalone, Chairman.
Good morning, Will.
Good morning, Michael.
First up, we have some monthly financial reports to be placed on file. First is a report from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing sales tax remitted to Will County for the month of February 2017 to be $1,330,414.32. The RTA tax received is $1,666,408.32 for a total of $2,996,822.64. And we also have the Will County Monthly Treasurer Report dated March 31st from our County Treasurer, Steve Weber. And I'd like to put both of those on file. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Mr. Mayor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Next up, we have 17-115, committing funds for the University of Illinois Cooperative Extension for the fiscal year 2018, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Dollinger. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Benefield. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion is carried.
Next up is 17-116, appropriate grant funds in the 2017 fiscal year budget, Special Fund 273 for the Abandoned Residential Property Municipal Relief Program from the Illinois Housing Development Authority, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, seconded by Ms. Winfrey. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
And my last piece of business is 17-117, authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents for delinquent tax program, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, seconded by Ms. Parker. Any question? Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
And our next Finance Committee meeting will be scheduled for June 6th at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Next up, Public Works Transportation Committee, Mr. Gould, Chairman.
Morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Don.
Morning, fellow board members. First of all, I would like to place on file the renewal of a federally enforceable state operating permit for Faro Gas in Shanahan, Illinois.
Move second by Ms. Melatello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution, number 17-118, Village of Romeoville request for a variance to allow mid-block traffic signal on Weber Road into Romeo Town Center Shopping Plaza. There's been some discussion and need for ongoing discussion with the village, a developer, and the state's attorney's office. So in that case, I'd make a motion to table this.
Moved by Mr. Gould to table, second by Mr. Mayor. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Ogala?
Yes.
Summers?
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Benefield?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Militello?
Yes.
Ballage?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Staley Ferry?
Yes.
Dollinger?
Yes.
Markham? Yes. Hart? Hart?
Hart, Ms. Hart?
Thank you. Tumanello? Yes. Weigel? Yes. Ferry?
Yes.
Colitis?
Yes.
And Mustis.
Yes.
Thank you.
26 affirmative.
26 affirmative, the motion has carried.
Thank you. Resolution 17-119, confirming an award of contract to Iroquois Paving Corporation, let on April 19th, 2017, for Zilm Road from Route 113 to County Line Road, County Board District 6. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Militello. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Staley Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Resolution 17-120, a resolution for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for Zilm Road from Illinois Route 113 to County Line Road, County Board District 6, using MFT funds. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Parker. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Tumanello, second by Mr. Ballage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
I have Resolution 17-121, establishing Hoff Road as County Highway 90 in County Board District 6. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Fritz. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Our next meeting is June 6th at 9 o'clock, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Don. Next up, Judicial Committee, Mr. Benefield, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning.
Nothing to present before the board this morning. Our next Judicial Committee meeting is scheduled for June 6th at 9 a.m., and we'd look forward to inviting all the fellow board members to attend.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Next up is Public Health and Safety Committee, Ms. Ogala, Chairperson.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judy.
This morning, I have a report to be placed on file. It's the Will County Regional Office of Education's quarterly report from January 1st, 2017 through March 31st, 2017, submitted by Dr. Sean Walsh, Regional Superintendent, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Ogala, second by Ms. Dollinger. Any questions? Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Thank you. I also wanted to bring to the forefront the point that May is Mental Health Month. And many of us, sometimes we're not paying attention to what's going on around us, but 1 in 5 adults in the United States will experience a mental health condition in their lifetime. Habits that increase this behavior, the risk of developing mental health illnesses include risky sex, prescription drug misuse, internet addiction, excessive spending, marijuana use, and troublesome exercise patterns. Mental health awareness activities include being thankful for what is good in your life. So often we really dwell on the bad, what's wrong. We forget to look at all that's good in our life and the people that are around us. Learn to laugh at your mistakes and see a crisis as an opportunity, because every time I know in my life when something tragic has happened, I've come out learning a lot of positives from it. So I hope that we all try and do that, and if we have a friend or neighbor who seems to be struggling, we step in to remind them of all the good they have. So I encourage you to join the mental health community to reaffirm the commitment to building understanding of mental illness and increasing access to treat and ensure those who are struggling to know they are not alone. Because we all are very compassionate to somebody who might be struggling with a disease that you can physically see that it impacts them. But mental health is, you look at the person and they look perfectly fine. You don't understand the struggling that's going on in their lives. So I think if we all step outside of ourselves and look forward to helping our friends and neighbor, we can make mental health a little bit easier of a burden for some of our family and friends. Thank you. And our next Public Health and Safety Committee meeting is scheduled for June 1st at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judy. Next up, this Legislative Policy Committee, Ms. Hart, Chairperson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Larry.
Susan.
Okay, as for the state level, we're still working on with our priorities, and of course, with our agenda, but right now I think the biggest focus is on the budget, and unfortunately, I can't say that we're, there's rumors we're closer, but no idea. I don't have better news. On a little bit more of a positive note, next week, a few of us with Speaker Mustis and Nick Palmer are going to be going down to Washington, D.C. To meet with our various legislators and departments and agencies to talk about the Will County federal priorities. I'm not sure if everyone had seen, there is a copy that sits on your desk. Nick, this might have to be, you outdid yourself. This is the best one so far. If you look into the back, I'm fine, with the fact sheets and kind of get to know your townships. And I was just kind of going through this, and with the colorful display, thank you. This is going to be great. We're going to look very impressive coming into the various agencies with that. So, no, that's all that I have to report. Our next meeting will be June 13th, 9 a.m., and hopefully we could talk about how great the budget that just passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Next up is Capital Improvements Committee. Mr. Tumanello, Chairman.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, everybody. Before I start, I just wanted to once again offer my condolences to my colleague, Mr. Frizzalone, on the passing of his father-in-law, but I also want to congratulate him at the same time on the birth of his grandson. So I know that was a bittersweet couple days, but hopefully there's some celebration in life with your grandchild. So. First on the agenda is the 17-122, authorizing the county executive to execute a lease agreement with the Vertical Bridge Holdings for the use of 2 radio communication towers, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Tumanello, second by Ms. Fritz. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Bally, second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Next on the agenda is 17-123, establishing a policy for approval of scope changes to the capital improvements projects, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Tumanello, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Moran, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Also, I just wanted to make a quick note that on May 3rd, the Capital Committee, along with the County Board and the County Executive, held a local contractor, get out the word for the capital project for our courthouse. It was very well attended. We had over 50 guests in this room. And with our main focus and our main goal of putting local contractors and local individuals to work on our project, I would say our first event was extremely successful, and we look forward to the upcoming ones as well. Next Capital Improvements Committee meeting is scheduled for June 6th at 11 a.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ray. Next up, Executive Committee, Mr. Mustis, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Jim.
County Board. My first item today is 17-124, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the County of Will and the current taxing districts for the financing of public improvements to the development of property at U.S. Route 6 and I-55.
Move. Second by Mr. Mayor. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll call by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried. Corey, do you want to be a yes on this? Thank you.
Next, we have 17-125, awarding bid for digital copiers. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 17-126, authorizing renewal of contract of employment and employer services for the on-the-job training program, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
17-127, authorizing renewal of contract with Joliet Junior College Workforce Development for Work Readiness Program. I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Markham. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger, second by Mr. Ballage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 17-128, authorizing renewal of contract with Joliet Junior College Workforce Development Youth Occupational Training and GED Academic Skill Improvement Program, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 17-129, authorizing Workforce Investment Board contract with Bremen Equipment and Manufacturing for a training grant, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Hart. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Staley Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of New Lenox for a one-day annual fall household hazardous waste drop-off event, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Tumanello. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Weigel, seconded by Mr. Frizzalone. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 17-131, authorizing intergovernmental agreement with New Lenox Township for a one-day annual fall household hazardous waste drop-off event. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Weigel. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Tumanello, second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
17-132, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Kendall County for electronic recycling, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Fritz, second by Ms. Melatello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
17-123, this was authorizing a contract with Acela Legislative Management for board management software. Mr. Executive, I will make a motion to remove this from the agenda since the contract is still being reviewed by the State's Attorney's Office.
Okay, moved by Mr. Mustis, removed from the agenda, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 17-134, authorizing contract with Kluber Architects and Engineering for Health Department facility. Mr. Executive, I would, this also is not quite ready yet. Your office continues to negotiate this agreement. So on this one, I'll make a motion to table.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second to Mr. Mayor to table. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Ogala? Summers? Singer? Moran? Rice? Harris? Trainier? Benefield? Fritz? Gould? Militello? Ballage? Frizzalone? Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Dollinger? Markham? Hart? Tumanello? Weigel? Ferry? Colitis? And Mustis.
Yes.
Thank you.
26 affirmative.
26 has been tabled.
Next, we have 17-135, authorizing the county executive to negotiate with White and Company for update on the Will County Master Plan, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Summers. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have Resolution 17136, replacement hires for the Division of Transportation, and I will move for approval.
Move for Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Balich. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 17137, replacement hires for the Emergency Management Agency, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Ferry. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger, second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 17138, replacement hires for the County Executive's Human Resource Department. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
The next Executive Committee meeting will be June 1st at 10 a.m. Next, I have the appointments of the County Executive, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Mr. Executive, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustis. Next on our agenda is public comment. Anyone here wish to speak to this board? Ms. Mayor, Ms. Schumacher, please come forward.
Thank you very much. Missy Schumacher, Mayor of Shanahan. I just wanted to thank Executive Walsh and the members of the County Board for supporting the IGA, making the infrastructure improvements at Route 6 and 55 possible. Because although that the project that is the impetus for that is in Shanahan, that really is a regional hub for transportation. So I just wanted to thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good luck. Anyone else wish to speak before the board? Anyone from the public wish to speak before the board? Next up, comments by county board members. In county board, Mr. Weigel.
At last month's county board meeting, I commented on a proposed change to our open burning ordinance to allow leaf burning on 2 days per week, Wednesday and Saturday. This proposal has been assigned to the Public Health and Safety Committee for discussion on June 1st meeting at 9 a.m. I would encourage any county board member who might be in favor of this change to attend the meeting and comment, as well as county residents who might be affected. I would like to thank the Daily Southtown newspaper editorial board for endorsing this leaf burning proposal on their May 5th edition of their newspaper. I have asked the Sheriff's Department and Land Use Department to compile a list of leaf burning and yard waste complaints received during the past 3 years. The Sheriff's Department has compiled a list of 76 complaints which they were investigated. It appears to be a significant number of complaints. In actuality, there probably should be more complaints, but residents are reluctant to call the sheriff on their neighbors. I have not gotten the information yet from the Land Use Department. The number of complaints should be reduced if we change leaf burning to 2 days per week, as there will be less opportunities to burn and generate smoke-filled air. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Mr. Frizzolo?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody on their kind words on passing of my father-in-law, but there is a circle of life, as my grandson was born on the exact same day. But I also want to congratulate, I know many of our members have children graduating from different levels, be it college or high school, Ray, Gloria, I'm sure there's others, and this is the time to congratulate all of those. They've done a fine job. Move to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Any other board members wish to have the floor? Any other board members? Next up is Majority Leader, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Michael, my condolences and congratulations. Your life expectancies and everything that's going on with everything with your family, but I think one of the things where we've lost quite a few folks that I've known for the last couple of years, and one thing that seems to come to mind is, we're all born to die, right? We have no choice. We can't get out of life. We're going to be, and as much as we preach, how many times have you gone and preached that similar sermon, my friend? But I think it's the contributions that we make that really impact our lives. And I want to thank the Democrat Minority Leader and his caucus for all the work that they've done this month. And I really want to thank my Republican majority and all the initiatives that you guys have done and worked across the aisle and getting the work of the citizens done here in the county, because it's these contributions that make life worthwhile and living in. And Mike, for your grandson, as well as my grandson and everybody else is here and their kids, I hope that they contribute half as much as what the folks in this room do to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next up is Minority Leader, Mr. Brooks.
Good morning, Mr. Executive, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you. First, let me begin with my own personal congratulations to Pam and Karen on their retirement. When we took the tour over there with Judy on last week, and we saw a lot of the pictures, many of you all were present, in her Karen's career there, Sunny Hill came a mighty long way. And we're very impressed with it, so congratulations, Karen and Pam, on your retirement. Since my colleague Chuck Mayer shared a little homily, I think it's only fair that I do. I just learned, Mike, this morning that you had a grandson that was born, but it is really no coincidence because, Larry, I know you know this. In the Old Testament, Proverbs 18 does tell us that we'll speak life and death with the same tongue. So it's certainly no coincidence. We offer condolences to Mr. Frizzalone in the loss of his father-in-law, but congratulate him for the new life out of the same tongue. And having said that, by the time we meet this time on next month, we would have passed Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to dads and the wonderful moms that do, single moms that do a good job with their children as well. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor Brooks. Next up is our board speaker, Mr. Mustis.
Once again, I'll thank everyone for all their hard work. We had a little bit of a celebration with the Sunny Hill Nursing Home today. And, very often, those of us who are here today and many of your initiatives, you will not see that come to fruition while you sit on this board. They'll go forward, and we'll accomplish what we set out to do, but you won't necessarily be sitting here to celebrate that. And the reason I'm mentioning that, because I'm going to talk about the nursing home, because there's folks that weren't mentioned who really had the vision and foresight to say we can be better in this area. First, I know Karen has left. Oh, are you still there, Karen? Okay, well, Karen, let me say this. It's no coincidence that when Karen became the director of Sunny Hill, that the initiative to bring it into a more modern facility, a facility that gave more dignity to our residents, started. That's not a coincidence. It was Karen who placed that vision and made those whispers in some of our ears. So Karen, I want to say that it started with you, and you should be proud of your work. And for those, and I don't think there's anyone here that remembers the prior executive director of the nursing home, but let me tell you, Karen was a really big improvement. So we went from being in trouble with the Illinois Department of Health to being celebrated by the Illinois Department of Health. So Karen, that's what the Karen brought to the process. This process actually started under the Joe Mikan administration, for those of you who are not aware of that. So Joe kind of started. And how did he start it? He sent Mike Migliarini down there and said, Mike, where are you at, Mike? Is he here? He said, Mike, go down there and look at this and see what you can do. And Mike started to tear up one of the avenues. And then Mike said, wow, this is pretty complex here, you know. At which time, we asked Mel Rule, the former director of the Public Building Commission, if he could come down and take a look. And he did. And Mel said, this is really a big job. There was enough funds at the Public Building Commission at the time to do the assessment of the facility. It came back at the time, it was going to cost $30 million. Well, we all went, we don't have $30 million for this. Then there was a fellow who worked in the executive's office called Paul Rafick, who was the executive, was the finance director. And Paul said, let me see if I can put something together. So what we did is wound up doing a series of, and of course, then the county, Larry Walsh had become county executive. And so he now has to carry that ball. You know, we just had an idea with a tore up avenue in Sunny Hill. So then Mel came down and took a look. There was some excess funds at the Public Building Commission. We were able to take a look at it. It was $30 million. We don't have $30 million. Paul Rafick says, well, let me start putting something together. And literally, we went year to year to year and completed the project with no funding ever really being committed to the next budget. And it's been totally renovated. And I'll tell you that it went from a very institutional looking, not very pleasant place to a warm place that you would be proud to put any of your family members in. And I also have to say that, you know, our staff there is second to none. And like many facilities like this, you do have a certain turnover because those who come in who think they'd like to do this kind of work, they find out how tough that work is. So those who make a career out of it are really special folks. I know I'm kind of going on here about this, but I did want to make sure that people were recognized, whether it was a Mel Rule, a Joe Mikan, who by the way, wound up working at the Public Building Commission part-time, and his job was to help oversee the nursing home renovation. You know, the Mel Rules, the Paul Raficks, all those folks that are not here any longer. But I can tell you laid that foundation, just like you're laying down the foundation for projects that you will not see come to fruition while you're sitting on the board. And hopefully we'll always remember you and we'll invite you back. You know, at least to say, here, it's done. So I felt kind of compelled to say a few words about those folks that really were very instrumental in the nursing home project. You know, the other thing I want to mention real briefly, because I figure I had a little extra time today, right? I don't want you guys getting out of here too early. You see, today there was a lot of items on workforce. And here again, we're going to have a little bit of a change shortly here at Workforce with new director. But you know, the important work Workforce does. You know, I have the opportunity where I talk to a lot of employers and so forth, and I would say that the first thing they'll bring up is the workforce, and that a properly prepared, well-educated workforce. I can't stress to you how important the workforce initiatives are in this county for the continuing growth and creating economic opportunity for everyone. Take some time to learn a little about what they do. Now, me personally, I wish it was a little bit more expanded because it does get restricted sometimes of people who get the benefits of workforce, but there are certain aspects of workforce every citizen here in Will County can benefit from. So as we go forward workforce, I would hope, and it's one of the things I talk about in Washington when we go there, because unfortunately, workforce nationally is not quite as successful as we are here. So it's always under scrutiny, by the way. So I wanted you to know that this is an extremely important part of what Will County does with our growing economy. If we don't have the workforce to fill these jobs, we are not going to continue to grow with the type of jobs we'd like to see come to Will County. So, come to a workforce meeting once in a while, get to know the new workforce director who will be coming in, who I'm not familiar with. I'm on the workforce board along with Nick and Don, even though they have much better attendance than I have at those meetings, but I do stay in touch with the workforce group as much as I can. And you should take a good look and see what they do. So I guess, should I talk a little longer, Larry? What do you think?
2 minutes.
Our White Sox are not quite up. They're failing a little bit now, but watch out. They're going to make the home stretch. And I'll tell you, Cub fans, I hope this is not the start of the first of 108 years for you. So that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Executive.
Okay. Next, we'll stand at recess until June 15th, 2017 at 9:30 a.m. in the morning, and adjourned.
Hey, brother.